The aim of this next video then is to give you an introduction to personal development and looking at your continued professional development. So what we found is that a lot of learners tend to not retain the information we give them about personal development and reflection and the theories relating to personal development and reflection. So this video is going to look at that, look at the importance of personal development, show you how to put a CPD file together, so a continued professional development file, where all your evidence of any development that you've done, you'll collate. And then you're going to look at some reflection theories, all of which will help you for Unit 2, which is personal development, and then put you in good stead for your endpoint assessment, where they may ask you questions on looking back at a critical incident or reflecting on a certain incident, and looking at how reflection has an impact on your work practice. So we've just looked at CPD and the benefits of it, and you've just learnt that continued professional development is essential to showcase your skills, knowledge and behaviours that you've actually developed and learnt whilst at work. It's a benchmark to look at where you've come from to where you are now, all the training, all the qualifications you've gained. So what we're going to look at next is looking at a way in which you can put that into a file, so you can then transfer that from employer to employer, and you can show as part of your appraisal process what you've actually done and where you've come from to where you are now. So the next few slides are going to look at putting together a CPD file. So as part of your qualification then, your assessor or the standards may ask you to look at reflection theories. So the next two slides are exactly that. The first one looks at Gibbs' reflection cycle. The second one looks at Kolb's experiential learning. So have a good look at these two theories, do some research, get your head around them both, because then you're going to be expected to reflect on them using one of those two theories and show that you understand each cycle. So the next document is an example of a reflective log. Throughout your qualification and certainly at the end point, so the end point assessment, you'll be asked to reflect on what you've learnt, the impact it's had on your skills, knowledge and behaviours as part of that learning programme, what you've particularly learnt in terms of any knowledge, and any other further development opportunities that you've learnt. So the next document is a reflective log, and it puts in mind that reflection theory that we've just looked at. So Gibbs and Kolb's both learn or both have theories around how we learn in a certain way and how we reflect in a certain way. So the next document looks at exactly that. So your assessor may get you to fill some of these out as part of your qualification, but if not, speak to your assessor, they can email you one, and it's really good practice to reflect throughout your qualification on what you've learned and the impact it's had on your programme, and particularly your skills, knowledge and behaviours and your work performance. So have a look at that document, speak to your assessor, and get into the good habit of reflecting on any training, any qualifications, anything that you've read professionally that's had an impact on your performance, because it's good evidence for that CPD file. So as part of that endpoint assessment or the EPA process, the endpoint assessor will ask you to demonstrate that you've actually reflected on your work practice. They may ask you how you've contributed to your personal development, how you've contributed to your personal development plan, what you've done to upskill yourself, to develop your knowledge, to develop those behaviours, to improve on your work practice. So what they may ask you to do is reflect on those practices and look at the impact it's had in your work performance. So she'll just want you to give an example of something you've done and the positive impact it's had on your skills, knowledge and behaviours. So reflect on something that you've learnt and explain the impact it's had on your work performance. What skills have you been learnt? What knowledge have you been taught? And what positive behaviour or changes have you made in your work practice as a result of that learning? That's all they're going to want to know as part of that EPA process. But the key words are reflection, looking at your competence, looking at your knowledge, everything that you've learnt as a result of this programme.